Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
Sean Bell.
All right.
And not James Farley because his internet's crap. So instead, we had to hunt around the internet and find the UK editor of Gamespot, Tamoor Hussain. Hello, Tamoor.
Konbanwa minasan, genki desu ka?
I don't know what that means.
Let's get anime up in here. Alright guys, Naruto, let me tell you about it.
First of all, right, thanks for coming on. I know it's been a huge day for you, and it's got even bigger by coming on this podcast.
This is truly the peak of this day.
This is a celebration party.
Yeah.
You're now the UK editor of GameSpot. There's no other way but down now. That is top of the league, right?
I have been known to backslide in my career. So give me some time, and I'll inevitably upset someone and just get punched down to janitor status.
Going to say you could end up on the tube again.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
That is going underground. Right. So what were you before? What was your title?
I was news
today?
editor before. So
right.
Yeah.
And then the next step is taking over GameSpot. Like that is, they've just. Is that jumping up a couple of... I know nothing about the structure of this stuff.
To be honest, it's news editor is almost kind of underselling what a person in that role does, because it's almost like a hold on from like previous generations where you'd get put in a role, but you wouldn't always just do that role. Yeah. So as a news editor, I did pretty much news, reviews, preview, interview, video, everything. So this is more of like an adding a layer of like managerial stuff to it, and becoming like the kind of go-to guy in the UK for the whole website and looking after the team and that kind of stuff.
But do you now that you're that high, do you now get a cut of the bribes from Sony and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. I've already had a few bribes offered, and I'm looking forward to greasing my palms with them. My pockets are going to be so fat, and they're going to be knocking over kids as I walk by.
Well, thanks so much for joining us at short notice. I mean, it was literally today that James texted us an image of his speed test that he was running up. I mean, he is a massive nerd, isn't he? I mean, it's about as nerdy as he gets. But he, sent us a screen grab of his test that he was doing to his internet connection. And just went, I don't think I can make it tonight.
That's one of my favourite things about modern life. That is that there's a lot of people who just have the speed test app on their phone. Just in case, like you might, say you move into a new house or you just pay a ton of money to get a fibre installed for the first time. I'll download speed test and see. Oh, yeah, it's really fast. Cool. Delete. No, some people are like, no, this is a useful tool for everyday life, and I'm going to keep hold of it.
It's very handy, Sean.
It makes me feel like, or believe that he makes day-to-day decisions based on his speed test.
Yeah, it's like the weather,
it's like worrying, man. That's kind of weird. Like, gets up in the morning, checks BBC weather, followed by speedtest.net to figure out whether he's going to be productive.
Yeah. I can almost guarantee it. But have you ever phoned up a customer service line for your internet provider while having that speed test app open? Because it freaks them the fuck out. Oh no, it's saying here that you're getting a 40 megabyte download speed, and that's no, here it's saying we're getting 0.5. All right, okay.
Did they then try that? Have you tried standing closer to the router? Is that maybe the...
I like the ones where it's like, oh, I tell you what, I'm going to do this in a couple of hours. We're going to switch over the signal, and you're not going to do that, are you? You just want me off the phone. You just want me off the phone.
Stalling.
Anyway, we're going to start the show by addressing a member of the audience that got in contact with us this week via our YouTube channel. Now, I know that this is all very standard stuff on YouTube to get ridiculous comments, but I thought I'd read these ones out because they are absolutely ridiculous. This is from a guy called World End, and he was referring to the conversation we were having last week about the fact that Microsoft are now not seeing the Xbox as their main gaming platform and that they're spreading it across PCs, and how that could affect their future, and they could really sort of make a lot of money. His first comment was, no one wants to stream games. This is obviously when we were talking about how no one's really picked up PlayStation now, because you guys have shit internet. Right, let me start with that. I'll stop that there. No one wants to stream games because we have shit internet. Okay, fine. In Europe, we have 100 megabyte download and upload. Right, we're in Europe. Okay, England's in Europe. Because there's the easy joke there, Sean. Yeah. But no matter what happens, we're still technically it's still Europe.
Yeah. He's still wrong to
yeah. So let's not get on his side.
Shut
up. And
up.
also, I realise how silly I sound now, considering one of our presenters is out because he's got shit internet. But apart from that, one of the lower plans you can have 150 and more, uncapped everything. Okay, fine. I've got 100 meg download, just to point that out. So that's definitely not the reason.
Right. So there's a difference between bandwidth and latency. So fucking shut up. It doesn't even make it.
Man, that is if you'd have come out with that argument in my school, you would be hanging upside down from your underwear. He goes on to say, again, you don't know what you're talking about. You can play 4 games on Xbox One, 2 Xbox One games and 2 360 games on back comp, right? So I get that. That's correct. Fine. Well, on PS4, you could play up to 6 games. 2 PS4, 2 PS3, 2 Vita games, right? I get that. We mentioned that. But if you've only got a PS4, that don't mean a lot to you. Now, he tries to qualify it by going, most of the time, the PS3/Vita games are cross-play games. So you can play them on PS4 better than you could on PS3 Vita, which can't be said for 360 games on Xbox One. I can't qualify that. Did they do that then, Sean? You must know. Do they perform better, the PS3 games and Vita games?
Well, they're only because they're games that have been also coded to run on a PS4. They're not they're not emulated or anything. It's not like if you're playing a 360 game on the Xbox One where it's actually emulating it. These are just games that are built to do this right off the bat. They're new games. Like
how common is that? Because I've only seen that for a handful of titles. Is it more common than I think?
No, I don't think so.
There's a reason why Xbox 360 games are coming out at a rate much faster than PS3 or PS2 games on PS4. Because, the publishers and developers have to go in and game by game modify a code or update code for it to run on a PS4, whereas Microsoft has created an emulation layer to Xbox One, which is why everything runs for the most part as it would have on the 360, and it's why you're getting more games cheaper, I guess, in a lot of cases on Xbox One backwards compatible. So it takes work and effort on the PS4.
They're two separate cases. You've got one case where a game is just being made for multiple formats, and another case where the games are being emulated on a new.
And it's not like we're getting old PS3 games playable on a PS4, is it? I don't think I've ever seen that. So it's like, okay, all right. I think that point, it doesn't make sense. Like, whatever.
None of it makes sense. I literally haven't understood any of it so far.
It gets worse. Xbox One's backwards compatibility is just that. 360, I can't be bothered to read any of that shit, right? So basically, he goes on to say that these are Red Dead Redemption is 720p, 25 to 30 frames on Xbox One. That's why Sony. Who cares? You can play Red Dead Redemption on Xbox One right now. You can't do that on PS3. That's what I'm saying. Xbox 360 can come out with stuff that look like massive exclusives. That aren't really. They're old games that have been out for ages. But the announcement on Xbox One, plus you get all that extra shit. You can stream them. You can capture shit. You can still play online against Xbox 360 players and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. They can drop that, and then he goes, we actually have great new real exclusives to play, and that's the first hint at what this guy is all about, right? Because then he goes batshit mental. We actually have great new exclusives to play, right? So you think you are Sony?
Oh, this fucking guy.
I think that's where you're going, right?
It's like when football fans go, "We won." Nothing annoys me more than that.
Sean Tamoor, that's me you're talking about.
I know, that's why I said it.
Up. so the next comment really just drives it home. You'll see this shift with Scorpio. Maybe you need to look at look back at history. PS1 destroyed everything. PS2 destroyed everything. PS3 destroyed everything.
Shut up! No, it didn't.
It didn't, though, did it? The PS3 did not destroy anything. The
Xbox 360 just took a shit on the PS3 from a great height.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? And okay, when you look at sales figures, they're pretty even. The Xbox 360 nudged it.
Literally, Sony's strategy for the PS4 was to emulate Microsoft in its 360 days.
Absolutely.
That should tell you something about the performance between the two consoles back then.
My point here is, who cares? Like, what I'm saying is that I don't care who's the more powerful console. I don't care if it's Microsoft or Sony. I think it's good that they're battling each other, and I think it's going to be really interesting in the next few years to see which direction they take to try and get one over on each other. What our point of our discussion last week was that Microsoft are making some interesting strides to get, sort of thumbs up from gamers and get them back on side after completely fucking the Xbox One launch up. But anyway, PS3 destroyed everything except Wii. Bullshit. PS4 destroyed everything. Okay, that's doing very well. I'll give you that. PC is not Xbox. If people are playing Microsoft games on PC...
No.
Go on.
Say what it says.
What does it say?
Microsoft. If you're going to make an argument, fucking spell properly, use proper grammar, structure your argument. No one is taking you seriously if you spell Microsoft. You're a fucking... Everyone's just going to think, well, this guy's a 10-year-old, an angry 10-year-old.
It does sound like that. He says, if people are playing Microsoft games on PC, they are PC gamers, not Xbox. I don't understand the point that he's even trying to make there.
No.
So whatever. I mean, fine. Okay. No, not fine. I don't understand. What we're saying is that Microsoft don't see Xbox as their main thrust for gamers anymore. They're trying to bring the PC market onto their Xbox Live system. And I think this is a good way of working. And I think that this is a good way to sort of... they haven't been able to boast about sales of the Xbox One, but they'll be able to boast about people that are using Xbox Live Gold. And a big part of that will be PC gamers that want to... I guess, I don't know, maybe PC gamers are sitting there... I'm not a PC gamer, but maybe PC gamers are sitting there going, actually, I'm not that interested in Xbox Live. I've got Steam. You know what I mean? I don't know how it's going to work, but it was just what we were thinking at the time. Then this is the last comment he put, because these were all comments as he was listening to the show. You guys are dumb. Everything you talk about contradicts you. Think that Xbox One games on PC will help those games or Xbox? That's a question, apparently. Tomb Raider, PC, Xbox, bombed. Quantum Break, PC, Xbox, terribly bombed. You
terribly bombed.
You do not know what you are talking about. I mean, we don't know what we're talking about. I think that's clear. I'm willing to accept that piece of criticism there.
We need to get this guy on the show and explain this stuff to us, because I don't know, I feel like...
This is where I'm going, Sean.
Okay.
If you're listening, which I know you are, World End, there's no doubt you're listening to this. Open invite, contact me at David Turner's on Twitter, right? I will call you up, we'll record it, and let's have a chat about this, okay? Because this is an awful way. Obviously, this is not your best way of communicating, because this is just bollocks, right?
Microsoft.
So why don't we sit down, we'll have a beer, and we'll talk about it. We don't have to meet up face to face. We could do it over Skype if you're scared, but... Get in touch at David Turner's. Let's do this. And then I want this... Get in contact with me over the next 2 or 3 days so I can get this recorded for next week's podcast. Okay?
Any later,
open invitation.
Yeah.
And
you're accepting that you're an idiot.
Yeah. If you don't accept this, then you're essentially saying, actually, I was wrong, Dave. Sorry. You were right. You are the best. So thanks for that, mate.
Maybe we should both apply for first dates on Channel 4 and hope you meet up with each other.
I reckon they'd film that. They'd film anything these days, Channel 4, wouldn't they? They don't give a fuck. They've just given up. Oh, fuck it. Let's just do best shoes. What, really? A documentary on best shoes? Yeah, fuck it, just stick them in shoes. We'll film them for the day and put it on telly. It's Channel 4. Right.
What kind of username is World End anyway?
Yeah, that's my only concern there, Tamoor. I don't know what this man's capable of.
Terribly bombed.
Matt, there's been some news this week. What is it?
So much news. Well, Nintendo releasing a new console this year.
Yeah.
Just like we thought. Oh, no, wait. It's the NES.
Can I just say, I was in the group with Sean and his friends. I think, basically, we found out when it was announced, Sean, right?
Yeah.
Later in the day, in another group, Matt, with just me, Matt and James, Matt posted the news up about this new mini NES coming out. And I went, yeah, it's fucking shit, innit? What? And they were both like, what? What's the matter with you? This is brilliant. This is great. I think I'm going to buy one. And
I didn't say that.
What did you say? You said you were going to buy one.
I say it looks decent, yeah.
You said you were going to buy one for streaming.
Yeah, well, I said I might buy one.
Right, okay, so what's it all about? What is it?
It's called a Nintendo Classic Mini NES. It's out 11th of November this year, of course. It's £50 or so for a console, 30 quid for the sort of replica NES pad. It's
fucking hell.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
It's got 30 games built in, Bubble Bobble, Donkey Kong, all the Mario Bros games, Ninja Gaiden. There's crap. There's 30 games on there. It looks decent to me.
Does it? Why?
The thing is, right, the thing with the NES that no one really talks about is that most of the games on it was sort of shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a few classics, but by and large...
The classics, they need to stay in your mind. Like,
yeah.
unless you really, really love them in a way that's unreasonable and a little scary. Like, you should not be playing Balloon Fight again. Like, as good as Simon's Quest is, you should not play that again, if only not so you don't tarnish your memories of it.
Yeah.
But what if you missed out on Tecmo Bowl back in the day, and you thought you want like an easy
Read
way
a
of
Wikipedia and pretend like you know everything about it.
I mean, fucking hell, they've put Zelda 2 on there. No one likes Zelda 2.
I love Metroid. There is no way in hell I'm playing Metroid again. Because I'm not crazy. I remember how weird Metroid was and how badly it's aged. Like, I love that game. Same with Final Fantasy. No way, Jose.
Is there seriously a game called Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest?
Yeah,
Oh, I.
Simon
Belmont.
Quest.
Didn't you know the main character from that game is called Simon?
I did not know.
I'll try and bury that.
This console. Yeah, I just think it
Super
feels like
C.
an easy, quick way of someone to play his games legally without having to bother with ROMs and this and that. No.
I think it's nice as a novelty, and I can't fault them for that. Like, they're a beloved company. There's a lot of nostalgia tied up in them. And, you know, if you want to put out this cool, like, mini Nintendo console with a bunch of games on it, that's nice. Like, I'd think about buying one and just, like, not even using it, just putting it there and kind of having this thing, because I'm crazy to that level. But, like, trying to present it as, like, some sort of fucking, this is good and amazing and a good option for people to, but no, it's not. Just buy the 3DS versions or whatever. And don't fucking charge me £80. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like 50 quid for the console.
Well, it comes
There's
with a pad.
Yeah, it
USB.
comes with a pad. That's just if you want to play two-player.
It comes with one pad.
Yeah, it comes with a pad.
one
yeah.
pad.
I don't know, man. I
Oh,
thought
I don't know if this was
thought it
bullshit
comes
or
with
people
zero
were just... I don't know if this is bollocks or people were just winding me up. Does it seriously not come with a power adapter, or was that a joke about
No,
the
that's I think that's real.
That's true.
That's what I'm
Fuck's
thinking of.
sake.
That's what
It comes with a USB cable.
Okay.
What? Okay, right. Does it at least... Has it got HDMI on it?
It's got
Right.
HDMI and a USB port. You need to buy like an adapter if you want to power it.
And the pads... Here's a couple of things I was thinking. First of all, it should have been the SNES, not the NES, right?
Well, no,
Well-
that's blatantly next, because the fact they called it Nintendo Classic Mini : NES, they
Yeah,
are
I
blaming
think
good the
you're probably
SNES
right.
version.
There's a
They
series
might even
coming,
do a
yeah.
GameCube, who knows?
Why didn't they make the pad classic USB so people can use it on the PC as well? Wouldn't that have been just a nice little touch?
It would have been smart, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just a nice little, hey, you can use this on PC as well to play. Oh, because they'll instantly just buy one of the pads for 30 quid and download all the emulation. Of course they would, Dave, you thick fuck.
Also, I think back in the day...
I can see World End writing a message right now. It's not a comment.
Remember the Nintendo shop, the rewards thing that they closed?
Yeah.
One of the items that you could get there was a NES controller that works.
Yeah, I've seen some people posting the pictures of ones they got this week.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had shit tons of those and were like, "How the fuck do we shift these?" I know.
I mean, this is right. So a lot of people are getting this for Christmas, whether they like it or not. That's happening. So
Mate, if you get one, you really need to sit down with your family and just go, listen, I don't know what you think I am, but let's not do this anymore. Like, just get me clothes.
I've already played Simon's Quest.
So it's gonna make a load of money, which is fine, I guess. It'll be a bit of a novelty on Christmas Day, and then you'll never use it again. I mean, like, you can't even make like a heritage argument for it, because or like a preservation argument. It's not like, oh yeah, well, cool, they're releasing a new bit of hardware that's going to play old games. That sort of thing is important because video games are always going to have this problem where the old hardware is going to die and potentially, like, we're going to be in a situation where games are just lost and you can't play them anymore. But this is just 30 games that they've picked. Yeah. So that's not, you can't even, give it that. It's just...
I don't believe there's any scope for expansion slots or anything like that.
No, they've said that there's not going to be any other games out for it, is there?
Although some enterprising youth is going to, like, crack it and just be like, yeah, you can just, like, slot an SD card in it with whatever ROMs you want.
USB in a plastic casing. You just, like, crack it open, put a different USB and you're done.
All you do is sing the theme tune to the of the game to the box, and it picks it up, and it just magically downloads the illegal version.
Shit, it's an ocarina in there. You can fucking make it rain when you want. Watch me turn back time.
The thing is that there's going to be so little, like, actual electronics inside it. So, like, the cables are going to be heavier than the box. It's just there's going to be nothing in it.
Yeah, and you have to buy the cables separately.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we can answer one of the questions someone was asked us this week. Joe Hodgson tweeted us asking, new mini NES or less legal but more adaptable Raspberry Pi with emulators?
Well, that's a thing, isn't it?
Well, this is the one good thing I like about this thing, is that how people sort of justify downloading emulators and ROMs for NES stuff, saying, well, you can't really buy it anymore. Now you can. Now you're getting sued, Sam.
I mean, if your argument is you really want to play Ghosts and Goblins on NES, but if you want to play anything else that isn't in that list, like, fucking pirate away, my man.
Right, okay, so
having said that, when they do this NES, I will buy the shit out of that.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. So if you could pick one to come out as a Nintendo classic, which one would you choose?
It'll be the SNES, right? For me, it'll be the SNES. And I realise that I've just made an argument for why this is dumb as a concept. But, like, I've got a lot of nostalgia, more nostalgia for the Super Nintendo than the, NES. And, I'd buy that, probably.
See, for me, it will probably be the GameCube. And let me explain myself with that. I'm not trying to be different. I'm not. NES, I'm not really interested in. The SNES and N64 games, I feel like I've played a million times before on different things. Mm-hmm. The GameCube, it's weird. I know that you could play those games on your Wii, but I didn't really do that often. And there's a bunch of GameCube games that I wouldn't mind playing at this point.
I feel like the tech and the cost would be just over the threshold where it would be good for them. Like, I don't think so. And also, like, they kind of squander their chance of re-releasing those games on their next platforms.
Yeah. Oh, man, that thing that we've been saying for years and years, Sean, about how they should do a Mario All-Stars 2 with, like, the 64 games, the Galaxy games and all that sort of shit. What if that's a launch title for the NX, man? That is day one.
I thought you were going to say, what if they just released the fucking Mario box? And it's just a console with every Mario game ever made.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Like, if this does well, like themed ones, like Zelda box.
Yeah. The console is a full scale size of Mario's castle, Peach's castle from Mario 64, with trees. You have to buy them separately for the console to work properly.
Most people would just buy this so they can just put their amiibos around it and shit like that.
That is exactly what people are going to be doing. Yeah. They're going to stick on their Nintendo vans, walk over to their shelves, put it up there and smile and cry at the same time.
Why is it? Hang on a minute. Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream?
Yeah.
Who's Mr. Dream? I've never heard that.
A brilliant second album.
Yeah, didn't they... I'm going to check this, but like original... Was it Mike Tyson, someone that they replaced because of
Mike Tyson got taken out of it, doesn't he?
Something like that.
Right.
I'm sure Chris Scully in some ways going, no! But I think that's what happened. Mr.
Fair
Dream,
enough.
yeah.
Do you reckon Scullion just like he's got sort of a sensor at the back of his head, and he just like when you said that, he sort of just his ears went up like a dog that just heard walkies. He's just like looking around, going, "What the fuck? You said that?"
So I'm on the Punch-Out wiki, and it says here, Mr. Dream replaces Mike Tyson as the final opponent of the game, who Little Mac faces. So I guess it is something to do with
because he was very, very naughty at the time, and now everyone just forgets he did that stuff.
Yeah,
and now
it's
he
good,
appears in.
He's in the Hangover, lads.
Laughs. Isn't it
Forget
funny?
the ear shit.
Punched Zach Galifianakis. Anyway, right, is that it for news? I think that's all we've got. Should we get straight into what we've been playing?
Absolutely.
Because, we should probably mention that Pokemon Go come out for iOS in the UK, which means, I'll be honest with you, right, at the time, when I was reading all the stories about it blowing up, I just thought, okay, yeah, this is like a one of those things that you hear blow up, but because, none of my mates really play this sort of stuff, it's not really going to be a thing. But, I was walking down the high street the other day on my lunch break, and there were just groups of people walking around with their phones out trying to catch them.
Yeah.
And I just thought, shit, this is a lot bigger than I thought.
When I'm walking around now and I see people on their phones, I will invade their privacy just a bit and have a peek to see what they're doing. And most of the time now, it's Pokemon Go, and these are like people of all ages. Like I saw an old lady today with a phone out, just being like, "Oh, after the Pokemon."
Fuck you, Charizard. So have you played this yet, Sean? Because you hadn't last week, I don't think.
I've still not really. Like I was I've wandered about once with it on, and nothing really happened, and I was like, I can't be bothered. But I'm not having a go.
Everyone's got to qualify that, haven't they? Because I'm with you, but everyone seems to be able to go. Oh, it's not for me. It's not. I'm not having a go at it. Because it sounds like you're
there are people who are just mocking it, and that is shitty and unnecessary. Because obviously it's really cool, and loads of people are having loads of fun with it. So I'm like, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I'm in a similar kind of. No, actually, I probably enjoy it more than Sean is, but yeah, I feel like it's a really, really cool game. The problem I'm having is I always reach a point where I'm like, yeah, but there's no depth to it. But like the way I was thinking of it is, firstly, like as well as it not having any depth in it in terms of replicating the combat from Pokemon, it also succeeds in kind of boiling it down to the very essence of Pokemon, the thing that it got popular based on in the first place, at least outside of Japan, and that's collecting, right? That was all it took for us to get into Pokemon when we were younger. It was the idea of going out there and collecting 151 of these weird things. And then battling was an extra thing. That was interesting when we kind of played the game. I don't know about you, but like I played the games long after I watched the animated series. So it was like...
I was the other way around, because I played Pokemon Blue quite a lot, and then later saw the show and was like, although the show's obviously not brilliant, it was like, oh my god, it's this rubbish thing that I've only seen on a Game Boy screen, and there's colours and the music's played by an orchestra. That's really cool. And it's like...
Mine was the other way around, where I got a Game Boy Color for Pokemon, because I was like, oh shit, I can actually do this? That's really cool. But like, I've really, really, despite the lack of depth, I really, really am happy to see so many people like just getting pure joy out of it, and seeing things like outside of my house there was like a Pokemon party day before yesterday, where just members of the community were just from local area just hanging around the underground station. Like there was music playing, people having drinks, and people of the different ages and colors, creeds, whatever it was, just hanging around. Like people were dropping lures and catching Pokemon. I saw a dude from my local mosque there. And those dudes are like fucking down with pocket monsters most of the time. Like, and now they're just out there, and like youngsters are getting involved. I see people, talking about being in parks and going for walks, and it's just a nice thing. So like, I respect it. And at the same time, I'm kind of like these people who are like old man yells out cloud kind of thing. I'm like, relax, man. Why is it hurting you? Just let people have it. At the same time, I understand them because it is all encompassing now. It's literally everywhere. You cannot get away from it. But like, and I do get annoyed at times, but then I come to my senses very quickly. I'm like, why am I getting pissy about people having fun about a thing? Let them do it, whatever, it's fine. And my hope is that over time, Niantic kind of build on it and make it a little more interesting. They've said that it's a long-term thing. You know, they're bringing trading into it. It could turn into battles from there. I don't expect battles will be very complicated because it's not part of that kind of experience. It would push people away if they overcomplicated it. Maybe it'll become like an option. But like, I enjoy it. I think it's cool. I'm collecting Pokemon. I'm playing it every now and then. I think it's fun.
I mean, I downloaded it, played it, and deleted it the next day simply because I just thought it was not for me. But what I need explaining to me, what I don't get, is I don't think that feeling of just collecting things, that just feels like something that you'd be excited about for a week and then drop. So there must be more to it. I think there's got to be more to it that I don't really know about. Are people really battling out to take over gyms and stuff like that, or what?
Yeah, I think they are. And like, it's important not to understate the fact that for a lot of people, this is I've said this before, like to a bunch of people that I speak to about it. For a lot of people, this will be their first experience with geocaching as well. And that's selling it in a big way. No one's had the novelty of going to a place for a specific reason to catch a Pokemon. And I think maybe they're not battling in the same way. I don't think it's the battling over gyms that's kind of the key selling point. I think it's the idea of just walking outside and walking into a random area, knowing there's something there, but you're not quite sure whether it's going to be the thing you want or the thing you've already got, and then being like, oh yeah, it's the joy of like, the way we get random drops in Destiny or whatever it is. It's that same kind of joy, right? It's like you go there and maybe you'll get that Ghastly you want, but maybe it'll just be that Pidgey. But the next time it happens, you're going to be like, maybe this time I'll get that Ghastly.
When I was playing it, doesn't it tell you where things are? Because when I was looking at it, it was like, there's a Pidgey over there, go over there. And then I went over there and there was a Pidgey.
Yeah, I think there is an element of that, but I think there's also still quite a bit of randomness to it as well. Like, I've gone out being like, I want this Ghastly, and got there. And sometimes the Ghastly has been there, other times I'll be like a Slowpoke or Pear or something like that.
Oh, right.
But I think there is a way to track the Pokemon nearby. But while you're trying to get that Pokemon, you might find something else. You know, you might just run into someone else who's like, hold tight, let me drop a lure, and we'll get way more Pokemon. Instead of, just being a dude walking around on your own, you might run into a community of Pokemon players, which is cool, I think.
The other thing I think is quite a unique thing for a lot of people, or the first time they're experiencing it, is the AR stuff as well. Because, I mean, you don't realise how little people are aware of that stuff. And when they're looking through and think, what the fucking Pokemon is on my fucking desk? What the fuck is going on here? And it's just like, well, we've all done that. I mean, the first time I really played around with that stuff was when the 3DS initially come out, and there's been loads of apps and stuff that do weird stuff. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of people really impressed by that aspect of it as well.
I turned AR off pretty much straight away when I'm playing it.
It makes it easier to catch the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Well, that, and you don't have to walk around with your phone like directly out in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how I've seen people using it. Like, not nerds, normal people using it by like holding it about 2 foot away from their face and just sort of, well, not 2 foot, that's quite far, and it must have really long arms, but like really far away from their face and sort of just moving around as if they're like scanning stuff. And they've been the easy ones to spot.
One thing for me, and I know it's just a small thing, but it's a novelty that keeps me coming back now and then, is the Pokemon in most of the games that we play aren't rendered this well. Like, it might just be the Pokemon, but they look really nice. They look clean. They're not like weirdly jagged in the way they are on the 3DS. They just look like nice, clean renders, almost like little amiibo figures in the kind of game. And they still do that annoying thing where their voices just sound like fucking garbled bits, but they look really cool. Like, I want to see what a Ghastly looks like in this. I want to see what a Meowth looks like, whatever it is. And yeah, that's another thing that I think is kind of cool for long-time fans of Pokemon. I wouldn't say I'm still a huge fan of Pokemon, maybe a lapsed one, but like, that's the kind of nostalgia that works on me, I think.
But for me, who's never played Pokemon before, I'm quite enjoying it, but I don't think I'm going to play it much longer than a week or so. It's a really, really poorly designed app. I must be closing this app like 20 times a day. it's constantly crashing. It's going to a black screen. It's just not loading. It's in terms of actually the app itself, it's pretty poor. But it's quite fun having a walk around. I tend to go for a walk at lunch anyway, and I might have my phone out and see if there's anything around there. I think you're right there, Tamoor. It does feel Destiny-ish in a way. I'm just basically trying to find things with bigger numbers again. And that's sort of what's dragging me in and making me try and load the app up and see what's around there. I haven't done any gym stuff yet. I haven't done any battling or whatever you can do there. But it's fine. I think I'll well, let's see if I'm still playing it in a week. But for now, it's all right. I'm still playing it.
Do you think it's a fad, or do you reckon it's going to last, Matt?
I'm hoping that Niantic will building this. They say they've got big plans, and obviously with the amount of money they've made in the last 2 weeks, whatever, worldwide, I would imagine those plans are only going to get bigger. I think there will be a huge drop off just because there's been such a mammoth amount of downloads. So there's bound to be a huge drop off. I'm interested to see what they do next. I mean, obviously everyone's been mentioning, is it Ingress, which is their previous app? Everyone's been mentioning that this week on podcasts and stuff I've been listening to, and apparently they're still quite a core group of Ingress players. So,
my brother was telling me, because he said, I've just installed Pokemon Go. He said, I didn't realise it was a fucking Ingress reskin. He said, because apparently there was a load of guys in his work who about a year ago or something, were trying to convince him to play Ingress. And he said, they're always wandering around the car park at lunchtime with their phones out. And one day, apparently they're all going apeshit because, so he lives in Sheffield, and he's saying they're all going nuts because apparently a group of Ingress players from Manchester had come over to Sheffield in the middle of the night and taken loads of control points or something while everyone was asleep. So Ingress is a thing.
Yeah. A lot of the tech that they use on Pokemon Go is the same, or the data specifically is the same.
Same points, isn't it?
Which is why you get inappropriate locations being gyms these days. But
I love that. I love the fact that people are jumping all over that. They don't realise, they know that it's made by just all the algorithms and stuff like that. Look at what they've done. They've made this into a Pokemon gym. No, they haven't. It wasn't a conscious decision.
Well, it's selected by them, right? So the Ingress stuff was people chose, they could submit. There was a period where they opened it up to user submission where people could submit their own points of interest or key areas to put portals down where people could fight over. And then when they were received by Niantic would go through, people would go through and one by one select whether it is okay. So there is an element of human selection and curation in that.
But it can't be completely that. I mean, there's no way that a company would go, a Holocaust memorial. Let's make that into a gym.
I think part of the reason why they no longer allow that stuff, the user submission in Ingress, is because it was manpower required to sort through it, and they reached a point where so much of it was coming in there they couldn't keep up with it, so they shut it down, and they used the existing data on Pokemon Go. But part of their plan is to open that back up. They're thinking about it so that you can submit gyms as
I'm sure haven't they already. I think they have opened that up now, but it's you have to be the owner of a business or whatever and be right, I want my restaurant to be a Pokestop.
I mean, that's one way to make money, right? For businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's why McDonald's are getting on board with it and that kind of thing.
That's what I was saying last week. How long until it all becomes, hey, there's a really rare, you could buy a Happy Meal and you'll get a code for a really rare Pokemon, or you'll get let into the... Do you remember when you used to have parties there and go into the fridge? I reckon that's what, they'll be like, come into the fridge and get this rare Pokemon.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You never had a party in a McDonald's. They totally let you in the fridge, man. That was the best bit.
I've never been in a McDonald's fridge.
Right. Now, if you've been on a McDonald's birthday party thing, right, and you're listening to this, then text, what is your thing? Captain Toss.
Text
Captain Toss.
Just text me his mobile number.
84882.
Give us a ring.
Every now and then.
Just ring the number at the bottom of the screen now.
Facts. Sean Bell on Twitter at Captain Toss. I tell him that the best bit was when they let you in the fridge, because I know I'm not alone with this.
That was just stacks of processed meat.
That was it. You just walked into a fridge and everyone,
what were you supposed to do when you got to the fridge?
How would they do that?
It's cold in here.
you sort of just look. Well, it's not just a fridge. It's not like a fridge you have in your kitchen. It's like this big, huge chiller thing.
Yeah.
You just walk in and go, oh yeah, this is where they keep the dead animals, and then you walk back out again. But that was the best bit because what else have they got to show you?
Like, I don't know.
Here are all our staff that we underpay, and this is where the chips come out of the fat.
Why is there a dead clown in here?
Don't worry about him. Why is that hamburger eating that dead clown? Don't worry about that. Yes, so what was I saying? Yeah, businesses getting involved. Yeah, that's going to happen.
I mean, the smart thing to do would be to allow them to be Pokestops or gyms, but not dictate what Pokemon are available there.
Yeah.
So, like, you could go there and end up with another Zubat, which would be the fucking worst.
Okay, last question on this. NX, will it have some sort of Pokemon Go tie-in when it's released?
My favourite thing about this whole Pokemon Go thing is how people are like, oh, Nintendo, so smart, so smart.
Yeah, that's done my
Actually, I think you'll find Nintendo had nothing to do with it. Everything, every benefit that they've got from it is like tangential. Like this was a deal between the Pokemon Company, which is a separate company from Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Nintendo owns a small stake in them, or even a large stake.
It's 33% they own.
Yeah, it's a big stake, and it's not insignificant considering the magnitude of Pokemon's impact. But like whether they choose to put Pokemon Go on the NX isn't all up to them. It's up to the Pokemon Company and partly Niantic now. So I don't think so. I think there's a lot of what makes Pokemon Go a success that's contained in a mobile phone kind of environment, and for it to be replicated or transferred over to the NX, I think they'd have to go in a direction that maybe they aren't going with that console currently.
Yeah. See, because I can sit here and all smug and go, yeah, people didn't know about that. I was in exactly that boat. I thought that I had no idea because I don't really know that sort of stuff. And I text Sean and went, hold on. This isn't a Nintendo game, and he was like, nope. And I said to him, it was quite funny because there was a lot of articles doing the round saying this is great for Nintendo are raking it in, and then like about 4 days later those same websites were posting, did you know it's not a Nintendo game? Nintendo had nothing to do with it. And I was thinking, the only reason I thought that was because of you fuckers. Like, I've been reading your stuff saying how good this is for Nintendo. Now you're saying it's nothing to do with them, but
I mean, it is good for Nintendo because they were making like 30% on 1.5 million a day, so it was brilliant. And their stock value raised like tons. I think today they set the record for the biggest stock jump in like Japanese trading history or something ridiculous, or in a decade or something crazy.
And more
it's definitely good for Nintendo.
More importantly, it strengthens the Pokemon brand and opens it up to so many more people now. So they stand to benefit from the new Pokemon game on 3DS and any future Pokemon games.
Oh yeah, cool shit. The Pokemon games on 3DS, man. They are.
They're assistant sellers, and they continue to be a strong kind of presence in Japan and worldwide in the same way that Monster Hunter is for Capcom.
Yeah, this thing hasn't even gone live in Japan yet, has it? So when that happens, it's going to go.
That's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I think I don't know what. There's some issues with it coming to Japan between Niantic, and because I think it's something to do with like the kind of mapping of locations, that kind of stuff is more difficult for them in Japan. Right. So I imagine, and because it's not out in most of Asia, I think it is. That I might be wrong on that, but it might be a while before it shows up there. But I imagine they're working hard for it, and they want global.
Yeah, I mean it's just money sitting there at the moment.
But it's really, I mean, everyone knows when they're releasing in a new country because suddenly you can't open the app. And then nothing works. They must have launched it again to somewhere else.
That's why it took so long to come out in this country. It's because everyone was downloading the APK of the US version, and then that means it was connecting to the US servers. So like worldwide, they tried to do a staggered rollout, so they could control the server load. But instead, people just completely bypassed that by just flooding it from every part of the world, which is why it took so long to get out here.
Also, last thing on this, I thought it was quite sweet, the suggestion to try and put these luring items outside of children's hospital until I thought, well, actually, is it just going to be nurses and doctors making sure that they get them before they hand over the, before they let the kids know, you know what I mean? I wouldn't blame them. Right. Okay, so what have we actually been planning? Shall I start this week? Because I've got quite an interesting game.
Go on.
And I think it'd be quite short. I heard about this game to start with from what was his name? Steve Burns on the Video Gamer podcast, and then I read something about it on what's that PC Gamer thing? Rock Paper Shotgun. It's a game called Replica. And the whole game takes place on a phone, although not on your phone, because I think there's probably rules that Apple won't allow it, or you could probably get it on Android eventually, no doubt. But so it's on Steam, PC, and Mac, and the idea is you've found a phone and you've got to break into it, and you've got to break into the guy's Facebook and Twitter apps and all that sort of stuff to find out stuff about him. And it's got a story that goes along with it, and the writing is appalling, because, let me back up a little bit, it's £2 and it feels like a bit of a prototype sort of game, but more solid than a prototype game. It doesn't feel like it's missing things or anything like that. It just feels that it needs a little bit more work to be made into something a bit more substantial, because the writing is really poor in it. The whole idea is that you find this phone and then you get contacted by Homeland Security, and they believe that the owner of the phone is a terrorist, and they're asking you to find out stuff about the owner and find out stuff about his life. And to do so, you need to crack into his Facebook, so you've got to work out his Facebook profile, password, and all that sort of stuff. And it's very cleverly done, because the OS that it sort of imitates is very much sort of a mix between Android and iOS. And it's remarkable how easily you take to it, because you're kind of like a text message comes through and the little notification comes down from the top, and you just instantly tap the top to go straight to the messages, and you read through the messages and all that sort of stuff. And there's something really satisfying and engaging about it, despite the fact that the story isn't that brilliant and the actual writing's a little bit, in your face, a little bit janky and stuff like this. Like, for example, you have to find evidence that this guy is a terrorist, and there's a bit where he's texting a mate about a revolution, but the word revolution is in capitals and it sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like, hey, don't you want to join the revolution? And you click that and that's your bit of evidence, and you're kind of like, yeah, I can see why you want to signpost this, because it might get looked over by people that are playing. But at the same time, this is just weird. It takes me out of the experience a little bit.
Just got to keep an eye out for the phrase "terribly bombed."
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Just the fact that you're going through someone's phone like that is incredibly engaging. And for a moment, I was completely lost in this guy's world, because it looks like you're kind of, how much you care about your phone and all the stuff that's on there. And the idea of someone going through it will probably horrify most people, right? Because we've all got stuff on there, whether they're text messages to mates about another mate, or if they're photos that are kind of embarrassing that you've done for someone but you don't want other people seeing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We've all got shit on our phone, like dick pics, Matt. Yeah, I know what you're going.
Well, I think, no.
Pure dick pics. But you scroll around Matt's, it's like a fucking Argos catalogue for Matt's dick. Various different stages. But yeah, no, it's just
roll with it, Tamoor.
just go with it. Have you not seen that page?
Have you not seen Argos shops?
Yeah, it's just weird. But the thing is that there's an idea there, and I think it can really work if they put a little bit more effort into it. If they sort of expand on the idea is probably a fairer way of putting it, because there is obviously a lot of effort put into it. But they get a new writer on, they put a story that actually fits with the context of going through someone's phone, and it could really fucking work. Yeah, so download that. It's $1.99 on Steam, and I think you will enjoy it. So that's that. Right. I also went back to Trackmania for a bit to cleanse the palette after Carmageddon, which I'll be honest felt really awkward, because I was doing it when the whole Nice thing happened. I was writing my review, and I sent the review might not ever get published, because I sent it over to Spong and said I wouldn't mind if you bin this, because I feel absolutely horrible about myself just writing about this sort of shit. So I don't know, don't buy that game, it's fucking dog shit anyway, just avoid it. But But yeah, that's been about it. So I went back to Trackmania to just chill out from that, and it just reminded me of how amazing that video game is.
Has anyone played the GTA patch that's basically Trackmania but for GTA?
No, I've watched some streams of it. It does just look a bit like a slightly worse Trackmania. I'll give it a go. It's fucking free, but
it might be fun. I don't think you could I don't think you could compare it to Trackmania because Trackmania is so serious. Like it's not,
and the handling's so good in Trackmania.
So serious. Yeah, I mean it's incredible, but it's more focused, and it probably won't have the sort of laughs that you could probably get from a GTA physics-based game like that. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what sort of rule sets they've got in place. I assume you can't just get out your car during those races.
Not that I've seen, but yeah, I don't know.
But I'm sure they can go more wacky with it than Trackmania can.
Yeah, if there were bits where, like, you know, it ends with you going off a ramp and then you have to dive out of the car and get a parachute out and then end up somewhere else.
They'd be totally stupid not to have stuff in like that in it, wouldn't it? I don't know. Maybe we can't comment. None of us have played it, so maybe we should try that for next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Matt, you've been playing some interesting stuff.
I have. First of all, I finished Life is Strange. I had so many things. I've got so many things to say about it, but we should probably wait until Farley gets back.
Yeah,
next
James
week.
said, "Oh, you should wait until I'm back before we start doing that stuff because I want to talk about it." And it's like, "Yeah, mate, that's great. We'll just all wait for you, eh?"
That game is bomb.
Anyway, yeah.
Did you not like it, Tamoor?
Fucking hated it.
Why?
Oh man,
Jesus
why?
Christ, everyone in there was just annoying to no end. I hated the characterization. There was like one bit in the entire series that I thought, you know what, this is quite good. But oh my god, the angst. I just could not put up with it.
Yeah.
Now get over it.
Yeah, it's very much like teen drama.
Yeah,
Dawson's
it's like,
Creek style.
I mean, and as I've said before, this is all shit that I've seen. Like I've used to watch the OC, recognizing that it's not great. But this was just
great.
like,
Shut up, Tamoor.
I mean, it was great back in the day, but like it got to a point where I was like, this is just bad. I watched
Steph's
one
my boy.
treat, but yeah, no one cares about
You
Steph.
see, the argument... Actually, I was going to say the argument I've heard against that, and then I realised I'm just parroting Gary from Chat Very Good. So you've heard it before.
Never
so just
parrot anything Gary says.
Okay, so
It's a
basically,
bad idea.
The argument is like, how funny or clever were you when you were 18?
Fucking nailed it, man. I was the man.
Sure, Gaz. Have you got a quiz involving your daughter there, Sean, that we can all play for the next half an hour?
I haven't got a daughter. I'm getting a dog next week, though. Oh yeah, did I mention I probably can't record next week? I'm moving house.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks. So what, are you up to anything next week?
I'll let you know.
Bit of housekeeping there.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can see why people would be not like the style that it has. But it just didn't bother me that much. I think I just got over it really quickly. But once I got over the fact that they were saying stupid shit and referencing crap stuff constantly,
yeah, it was a lot of
really
that really forced references. And if I'm honest, I will firstly cop to not being cool when I was a kid. I was a fucking awful kid, fat and ugly and just a mess, like a hot mess.
Well, hang on a minute. Being fat and ugly doesn't preclude you from being cool.
Yes, it does.
And bullied and shit. So maybe it was. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is too heavy of a fucking sad moment to realise it. Maybe I didn't like it because it reminded me of myself when I was a kid. So maybe it's an element of that. That
sort of one of the reasons I did find some of the writing jarring was that I don't think, you know, being a sort of nerdy indie kid is quite as difficult now as it was for people our age, which is why it felt like a story about, you know, being 18 in, you know, 2015, but written by someone who is now 30 or whatever.
Oh, Sean. Are you essentially saying that they don't know they're born, these kids these days? Is that
they do, mate. They've got it fucking easy, mate. The exams, they just pass them all. They just fucking
I will say.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, it's far more normal to be a fucking nerd now than it used to be.
I will say
that's clear.
I didn't predict the twist, so when the twist came, it did get me, and I was like, that was cool. And also, there's a bit where you visit a character and something's changed about that character. That moment did get me, and I was like, holy shit, that's impressive that they're willing to go there. But otherwise, I found the main character Max to be quite frustrating. And same with a lot of the supporting characters. And also part of it is the fandom that sprung up around it. And because they were just
there's a lot of fan art.
Yeah, there's
weird
a lot of
fan art.
Oh God, is there?
If you ever set a Life is Strange character as your background desktop wallpaper, you are the worst. I hate you so much.
What if they did it like with one of the photos that she took in the game? I bet there's a few of those knocking about. I think it's one of those games where it's just like, if you just give in to that stuff, you really get a lot out of it. But I assume that there's a lot of people that can't quite get over that shit.
I'm interested in seeing what Don't Nod does. Clearly they have some storytelling chops, and they know how to make an episodic game where you can make decisions. So I'm really interested in Vampire now. And it looks quite good from what I've seen, the brief gameplay and the trailers that they've shown. So I'm definitely still interested in their games.
When's Vampire due out?
I don't think they've said yet.
Right.
As far as I know.
You were really down on that last week, Sean. I from what you said, it sounded like a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it looked great. Tamoor's probably seen more than I have, though.
I don't know. There's parts of it that I like in terms of what the world they're setting up, and the kind of, you play as a vampire, so you have to clearly fight against your own instincts as a vampire or something like that. But at the same time, they showed off a lot of combat, which is worrying me.
Because all I saw was a bit of the combat, and was like, this isn't, even if this is all right, it's not going to be the reason I play this.
Yeah. Presumably, it's built on the same engine or an adapted or improved version of the engine that Life is Strange was on, which itself, I think so, which itself was something, I imagine, the same one they used for Remember Me. So I'm not convinced that engine can do combat in the way that they're portraying it. It looks very quick and very kind of like almost Devil May Cry-ish, but I don't know if they can pull that off. But if they can get the story stuff right and the ambience right, Life is Strange had a mood, that's for sure. I can't fault it that it had a mood. And if they can do something similar with this kind of like dark Victorian London under kind of weird vampiric fucking rain or whatever it is, that could be interesting. But I don't know.
The combat in Remember Me wasn't awful. It was okay once you started unlocking combos and stuff like that. It wasn't the worst. But yeah, I don't know if the bar's been raised too far for them now, because it's pretty high with things like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta and stuff like that.
I'm sure it'll turn out they're not aiming for that at all. But just combat in these types of games has never been done well, whether that's Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, or anything else. It's always been quite weird.
Man, the combat in Walking Dead was absolute dog shit.
Same for The Wolf Among Us. I mean, there weren't many combat scenarios, but the few that they were kind of weird. And I played Batman at E3, and it was a very similar thing. There was not a lot of engagement in it. It was QTEs, and that's annoying partly because you're the Batman. So just pressing a button and then watch him do cool shit is kind of weird. And also, we're used to the free flow combat from the Arkham series. So it's kind of weird.
Batman is associated with excellent sort of combat at the moment, isn't it? Because of those games. Weird. Okay, all right, but we're not talking about that apparently.
No,
so,
we're not talking about Life is Strange at all. I played the Battlefield 1 closed alpha this week. It's
you
still
can definitely talk about this. Are you sure?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a few days before, a couple of weeks ago, they said that people can talk about it on podcasts and stuff.
Right. Okay. So is it any good?
Yeah, I love it. It's really, really good. So I love Battlefield 3. I played it for 100 or so hours. So I didn't play tons and tons of it, but I played a fair amount of it. Battlefield 4, I was really psyched for. Then, obviously I had tons of launch problems. And although I hear it's great now, I just basically gave up. I didn't really play it. I barely played it at all, but it was really disappointing at the time just because how much we loved Battlefield 3.
Have you still got a copy?
Battlefield. I got a digital version of Battlefield 4. That's how much I thought I was going to be playing it.
I reckon we should have a night on that soon. Just to have a little go on it again. Because I remember playing it a lot actually, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. But there was something about it moving, because didn't it go up to 64 players on console on that one? And it just felt a little bit too much for me.
Right.
Like it got a little bit too busy for me. I still enjoyed what I played, but just got a tad too. But Hardline, I had absolutely no interest in. Like I don't know why. That just did not click with me whatsoever. And I'm all right. I didn't play it for that long. I played like the beta or whatever, but I was just like, no, I'm not really ready for this. So what does this do that maybe those like to drag me back in?
I'm far from a Battlefield aficionado, but from what I played, it's a really really fun game. So there's only one map at the moment. I'm not sure the name of the map, but there's one map and there's only one game type. It's just a conquest where you obviously got to control points. It really felt like a massive war just because there's tons of people everywhere. There's buildings blowing up everywhere. It feels much less sort of. Battlefield 3 for me felt like everyone was pretty much going in one single direction. People were going from point to point, doing a very sort of methodical approach to the game. Whereas this, it feels like there's people everywhere. It feels like there's tons and tons of vehicles. The ability to sort of get in the Zeppelin above the battlefield is also really really good. You can do loads of great stuff there. It's also really really good to just have sort of old timey guns again and not play like another futuristic or near futuristic combat game. It felt awesome to have old rifles and old weapons. You can also kill someone with a shovel in this game.
That now I'm in. So, that's what you should have started with. That should have been your opening selling point there, Matt.
Should have been, yeah. I've had loads of great moments. I mean, obviously graphically it doesn't look stunning right now, but it's an alpha. I'm under the impression that sort of stuff gets tidied up and sorted out towards the end anyway. But graphically it looks good. It doesn't look mind blowing. The map, the one that's available now, it looks huge and it's fairly big anyway. But because like the sort of the outer perimeter of the map, it's just basically horizon as far as you can see. It makes it feel much bigger. Obviously, there's going to be an invisible wall somewhere, but it just makes the map feel real massive. And you're going through destroyed destroyed town, a little village. There's the rolling hills. There's huge sort of muddy bogs. The map feels really expansive and huge. That could just be this one particular map, but the map's great. The ability to get on the Zeppelin is absolutely class. So that basically comes in and around the battlefield at various points during the game, and you can get in it. There are a few sort of gun spots you can get on it, but you can also get on top. You can just run around on top, and I was in a gun placement shooting around, but there's not a massive field of view, so I thought I'd get up and run around on top when I noticed some holes appearing in the top of the Zeppelin near me. So I started running towards the other end, and the holes getting bigger and bigger. And I thought, solid, I've got to jump. So I jumped off the edge, and just as that happened, the Zeppelin blew up just behind me, and I parachuted down to the ground. It's a really class, proper Battlefield moment. And it's really amazing seeing that thing above the battlefield even if you're on the ground, just seeing it blow up is really cool. This alpha is actually on until if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it actually finished yesterday. But the open beta, I believe, starts late August or early September. And from what I played, I'm definitely playing that. And this gets me really excited to play Battlefield 1. Whereas if it was another futuristic game like another sort of Battlefield 4, I probably wouldn't be as excited. But this I really want to get back into it if it's anything near as good as this closed alpha.
That does sound good. You didn't get a chance to go on any of the horses or anything?
No, there was tanks, but there was no animals in in the closed alpha. That's something that I can see. There's tanks and jeeps and stuff, but there's no horses.
And what are the classes like? How do they?
It's the same as before. I mean, it's like medic and assault and stuff. I mean, a medic's a bit different now. You've got a syringe instead of defibs and all that. They definitely need to change some of that stuff because bodies are basically disappearing off the ground within about 5 seconds. So it's impossible to actually give anyone a syringe to wake them up again. So there's a lot of things they need to change. But it's only a closed alpha. But
that stuff.
It's really good fun. I mean, I've read a lot of things that people saying it feels like a good mixture between the old Battlefield games, 1942. It's got some elements of Hardline. Apparently, I haven't played enough for those other games to say that. But what I have played is really really fun, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what they do with it next. I want to play Rush. Really, Rush isn't part of the closed alpha, but because Rush is always my favourite game type anyway in the game. I thought Conquest was good, but I preferred Rush. So. and they have now confirmed Rush is in it. At one point a few weeks ago, that wasn't really confirmed, but they said that it's in, and they're going to bring a slightly different spin to it apparently. So really interested to see what that means as well. But have you played it, Tamoor?
I didn't, unfortunately. I got a code, but I was just super busy. Didn't get a chance. I watched my little brother play it for a bit, though, and it did look interesting. It looked like that kind of cool, like, unexpected moments. They're coming way more than they did in perhaps Battlefield 4 or Hardline. So I'm definitely going to play it when it comes out. Always open beta.
I'm assuming with Rush, they're going to make it that it's going to be split a little bit. So there'll be essentially 2 games of Rush going on at the same time, if that makes sense. Like where you've got split off and there's sort of 6, what they call them? 6 things to attack rather than just 3. Because the Rush in 4 was okay, but it was just too much with 32 aside going at it for like, you know, on this one point, it just felt a little bit too.
Well, if you think that's too much, I mean, this feels. I'm not actually sure what I think this might be like 32 aside in the games I've played, and this feels much more overwhelming than previous Battlefield games does. Just because you see people going everywhere, running all over the place. But I've also had way more moments in this closed alpha of people actually running together towards a capture point, as opposed to, you know, maybe in Conquest I felt like there's a lot of people all over the place really, but I've had moments where like loads of us run up a hill to try and take a point and then run elsewhere, but it's also just bodies flying, you know, flying through the air and buildings being blown up, and I've had some great moments already, and I've only playing it for a few days.
Why is it coming out at the same time as the new Titanfall?
Yeah, so
why is that?
Is this a week before Titanfall? Because I know it's like COD, Tights, and this, but I'm not sure what the order is.
I do not know. I cannot tell you.
But I guess it's going to be like buying this and Tights in a week or two. Yeah.
I think Call of Duty, this might be the first Call of Duty I don't play since Call of Duty 2, I think. I just don't think I can bring myself to play that when there's new Titanfall, new Battlefield out. I mean,
Battlefield feels so different. I mean, it's Battlefield as you know it, but it just the ability to play World War One just feels new and different. Whereas another COD, it just feels like another futuristic COD. Good fun.
Tamoor,
Yes.
what have you got for us?
Real quick, I played Inside and completed Inside.
That's an excellent game, isn't it?
That's a great game.
Incredible.
I thought the puzzles were a little easy. At the same time, they were quite satisfying to complete. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, so the kind of difficulty just because it's not really perplexing you doesn't really matter. It's just you get a satisfying buzz out of completing it, and the ending was insane. I won't talk about it, but
yeah, the ending was. I actually thought difficulty was good. I was never stuck for more than like 5 minutes, but it is good enough. Yeah, and you're totally right. It makes you feel like you've accomplished something, even if it's relatively simple.
Yeah, I played a bunch of Doom. Very slowly making my way through that. That is an excellent game.
Yeah, everyone says that. I've got to play it.
So good.
I've got to buy that.
Yeah. But my main game is Overwatch still. That game is just phenomenal. Like I can't say enough good things about that game. That is, I know we've still got some time left, but I can comfortably say that's my game of the year.
Wow, really?
Yes, it's just so good. Like the balance, the way it just keeps giving. Like I don't get bored of it, and it's been a long time since I've just been thinking about a game constantly. And it helps that like literally everyone I work with is playing it as well. And the fact that everyone I work with is playing it speaks to how well that game is designed. It's not like a Call of Duty game where you maybe play it for a bit, but then it's just kind of you either bounce off of it or you just don't feel like it's your thing. I've not found anyone who's played it and then said, yeah, it doesn't really, like, I can't really play it. It's not my thing. Like I found people who just find a role and find a comfortable zone for them to play in. It's just, I think it's just excellent, top to bottom.
I've been very much getting back into that. We had a game, didn't we, Matt, not too long ago, and that was really good. And Spilt Milk, I played with him the other night, and that was really good. And I've slowly been starting to find my feet again with it, especially because I've been switching characters up a lot more.
Yeah.
The I don't know any of the names, but the Freeze girl,
me,
she's good. I'm bang on that. I cannot believe that they've made D.Va better. I've not been on it since the update, but that blew my mind. I was like, but I rip people to shreds with her.
There's a problem with her. It's like, and it's worth saying, like, it's been a long time since I've been excited about, nerfs and buffs. Like, outside of Street Fighter, outside of Street Fighter, which is just like a constant in my life, whether I'm playing it or not, I'm always paying attention to that stuff. But like, the fact that D.Va's getting buffed is amazing. I think it's a smart buff. I think the problem that
it is, it's really interesting what they've done, because they said all along, it's like, well, it's not that she can't take enough damage, and it's not that she doesn't deal enough. There's just something about her mobility. And then what they've done is, so now she has this shield ability, and I know you know this, Tamoor. I feel like I'm addressing you, and obviously you already know this. For the listeners, she has this shield ability where you activate it, and then it stays up for 3 seconds, and then it disappears, and you have to wait for it to recharge, which takes a while. Now you can just sort of turn it off on and off at will, can't you?
Yeah. And I think
so you don't.
The key issue that they were kind of addressing was the fact that she is a tank class character, and outside of that shield, she doesn't have a lot of options in absorbing damage. So she's in a tank, and she does take quite a bit of damage, but not compared to a lot of the other characters. So what was happening was players were picking the character as a tank, believing they should play as a tank. And then when they were doing tank-like things, like jumping ahead of people and trying to absorb damage, they weren't lasting very long. And that was because they had a small window where they could absorb damage and behave well as a tank. But outside of that window, they were just being ripped to shreds, which is what I found the problem with her be. Like, I felt myself running in, saving someone for a couple seconds, but then being forced to run away or just give up my tank and go into pilot mode. So this addresses that, and I think that's a really smart addition.
Is it true that the other change they've made with her is that you can't die from your own nuke now?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that is
really?
just beautiful.
Yeah. So now you don't have to run for it.
Well, the good thing about that is that there are a lot of tight spots in Overwatch, especially early on in matches. There's a lot of hallways and alleyways and stuff like that, and you've never been able to properly use them as D.Va, but now that's a proper option.
It makes sense, because it's not like you're going to activate the nuke and then just sit on it, because of the very nature of it, you're throwing it into a group of enemies. So you don't want to be there anyway, but it's just going to avoid those shitty situations where you run around, hide behind something and you think you're safe, but then it decides you're not and you get killed by it.
Well, there's also the fact that when you are using it in sort of tighter areas, there's not many places to run to, and you tend to get caught up a bit and then get caught by the end of the blast or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's not a problem. You can just duck around a corner, wait there for a few seconds, and then just head straight back out with a new mech,
And also, whether it turns out that this is an effective strategy or whether it even works, I feel like we've reached a point where D.Va's ult for the most part is pretty useless. Like, I find on PC at least, whenever I chuck it in, people aren't surprised by it. They know exactly what to do. They will use whatever maneuverability skill they have and just get the hell out of the way. It's a good way to clear, but I don't think it's an effective way anymore. You have to really synergize with your team to make the most of it.
Well, this is the argument, isn't it? Like, even if it isn't killing anyone, it still gets them out of the way temporarily. But
with this ability, you can at least kind of have this meta game where you're also around in your pilot form. Her pilot form is surprisingly powerful. Like, you can, if you keep on the move, you can pester people. And you know how the same way that people tend to get distracted by Tracer when she appears, even if she's not doing a lot of damage, they'll be like, I'm going to chase you down and kill you. Like, people who are thinking about fleeing, if you jump in their face and start shooting them, they might be like, I'm going to kill you. You're annoying the shit out of me. And in that scenario, you might get a few kills if you're lucky. Or you could just really throw the enemy team off while your mech is going nuclear. So I feel like there might be another meta game there. Another one that could very quickly be figured out, but still it's a good extra layer to add on to the character.
Who are your favourites at the moment?
I almost exclusively play as D.Va. But I can also, obviously I'm not an idiot. I will, I have learned other characters because the team often needs it. So my healing is usually Mercy or Lucio.
Yeah, Lucio, man, he's really good. Amazing.
I feel like I prefer Lucio on attack if we need a healer. And if it's defense, I will usually go for Mercy, because then I can switch to buffing damage when need be. I will play Reinhardt in a pinch when no one else wants to. But for the most part, I think I stick with D.Va. And Reaper's good if we really need a damage dealer. I'll pick Reaper.
Yeah, the for me, I found Mercy's perfect when you're defending and someone's picked Bastion, because they tend to hang back a little bit.
Yeah,
and you can just sit on Bastion healing and buffing like the moment that the people start coming through.
Yeah.
So I know that Bastion can heal himself, but like it's such a slow process to do it. To take that out of it is a huge boost for your team.
And I play with my team at work, and I've basically learned their play styles. I know how they're gonna play, so I can, suit my Mercy play to work with them really well. Like Dave Jewett, who I work with, he's an amazing Roadhog. His Roadhog is insanely good. And we've got to the point where I know exactly when he's going to use his hook, and I will switch to like damage buffs and then move on to like Chris, who's usually playing Reinhardt, and keep him alive. So like it just really works. I like Mercy as a character who can bounce between people and use my knowledge of playstyles to help complement that. So yeah, that game is just amazing, man. I just can't say enough good things about it.
Is Anna out yet? Is a new character out?
She's available in the test environment, which on PC anyone who's got the game can just download. It's a separate client. But I don't think she's officially out yet. From what I've seen, she looks very powerful, but not like over the top powerful in the way that she's completely unbalancing the game. People have already started to figure out how to deal with her. And a lot of people, she takes a little more thought than the traditional healer and sniper class, because obviously it's staggered damage. She poisons you and then does damage over time. So you really have to think about what kind of situations you're putting yourself in, because your initial shot won't just kill a person outright. You have to be in a situation where you can take a shot and then also defend yourself. So there's a lot of like strategic considerations to playing that character.
I'm going to ask you the classic question here. Have you played Rainbow Six Siege?
I played a bit of it. I haven't gone back to it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's evolved in a way apparently it makes it really, really good.
It's Overwatch, but better.
Yeah, there's something about realistic shooters that I don't know, these days that I just struggle to get on with. Like, I think part of it's playing so much Counter-Strike and playing it in such a competitive environment. Like, I still drop into Counter-Strike now and then, but it kind of satisfies that need for a strategic, realistic shooter. Whereas I feel like Overwatch is a little more lighter, and I can jump in and out really quick, and the community is generally okay. Plus, all my friends are playing Overwatch, not Rainbow Six, so that's kind of dictating.
The one thing that's cheered me up in the past week is that they Ubisoft have announced an update for Rainbow Six Siege, and they are permabanning people for team killing, and that can only be a good thing. So because they were we tried it again like a few months ago, and I think it was last month actually, and it was a horrible experience of just people being dickheads on there, because it's one of those games that's so beautifully put together but so easily taken down by trolls, or whatever you want to call them. And that's what was happening. But now it looks like they're trying to combat that, because I think it's dropped off big style. But it's not too late, Sean. That's what I'm saying. It's not too late. Have a word, mate. Sean, what you been playing?
There's a new Monster Hunter game out.
For fuck's sake. I just read it. I just read what you wrote.
It's fucking magnificent. So it's really interesting, right? Because this does sort of feel like this is the last one we're going to see in the current mold. Because this is called Monster Hunter Generations, and they are not fucking about with that title, because there is Monster Hunter games have always been a bit cheeky with reusing stuff from previous games. But this takes stuff from like literally the first Monster Hunter game over 10 years ago. And the second one and the third one, and it literally expands the entire series, which is like, it's interesting because I don't think many other series would get away with this, but because Monster Hunter is this bizarre beast where like most people have sort of tried like a few years ago and then bounced off it, and then people like me wouldn't fucking shut up about it, so they tried again and they still sort of didn't really get it, and then maybe on like the third attempts they sort of did. So it's really interesting going back to areas from like the first and second games where, it's not like, like when Shadow Moses was in Metal Gear Solid 4, spoilers.
What?
And it's like, And it's like this, like, holy fuck, this is amazing, because I remember being here and doing all this cool stuff. It's really interesting because you go back to these areas, like an area from Monster Hunter 1, and you're like, I remember just like staring at this and just having no fucking clue what was going on. And it's like you can come back to it, and it's just like seeing it with this new pair of eyes. Like, no, because I get the game now, and I understand. It's like if you got to repeat school, and you could sort of go back to it with all this stuff you've learned, and it's like, oh, fucking, I get it now. And it's a really weird feeling. Aside from that, the way they've streamlined the way the game opens is really good. There's a fuckload of tutorials if you need them, and I've not touched them because I'm cool. But they are all there if you need them, and I know people who've just started and said, this explains everything really well, and I'm enjoying myself. So that's good. Because, as I said, notoriously difficult series to get into. And they've the way they've paced the quest is really interesting. They've always done this thing where all your quests are they're all tiered. So you got tier 1 quest, tier 2, 3, etc. And there's always it used to be that you'd have to just clear one, do all the quests in tier 1, and then it'll go, oh, there's an emergency, you got to go and kill this monster. And then you do that and you unlock tier 2. Whereas now, you'll start off on tier 1 and you've got all your quests that are go and get me some mushrooms, go and pick some flowers, it's all this stuff. But when you talk to the woman who gives you quests, she'll be like, pick this one and it'll unlock the next lot. And it's like, good, because I don't want to fuck about. I just want to crack on and get to the stuff that interests me. That because I'm not new to it. I don't need those initial, here's how you do basic stuff sort of quests. But if you need those, they are there, and that's fine. They've added these 4 different combat styles. And they are fascinating. Because it's a game that demands that you learn all the sort of the move sets inside out. It's like each sort of type of weapon in that game is like a character in a beat 'em up, basically, and you have to figure out so many things about them and weird little quirks and timings and positioning and stuff like that. So to then go, right, each one of those weapons you can now use in 4 different styles that has different traits and stuff is fucking brilliant. My personal favorite is I've always used the longsword, whereas I now use the longsword in aerial style, which means instead of doing a little dodge roll, I now you jump into the air a bit, and the idea is you do that towards a monster and then you bounce off them, which then allows you to do this massive aerial attack on them. And previously there was only either you had to use the environment to do that, or there was one specific type of weapon that was good for it. But now you can do it with any type of weapon, and that's wicked, because then, doing aerial attacks allows you to mount monsters and stab them in the back and get different, parts off them, which you use to make other gear. And, but then there's that, and then there's another style called Adept, which is all about doing, sort of perfect last-second dodges, which then gives you, a mad counter-attack, and that's really fun. Yeah, it just fucking opens up so many sort of new things for seasoned players to think about, whilst also easing people in at the lower end as well. It's fucking magnificent.
So is this a game you can literally spend hundreds and hundreds of hours playing? Is it?
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
Monster Hunter 4, I spent 90 hours on, and that's nothing for a Monster Hunter game. That is piss poor. Yeah, there are people who put in upwards of 1,000 hours into Monster Hunter games, which I don't, I love it. Maybe not that much, but I can see how it could be done, especially if you got a regular group to play with and stuff.
There are also people that can spend hundreds and hundreds of hours talking about the fucking thing as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's it out on, Sean?
3DS. Which is still a thing, for such a massive, brilliant game to be confined to a handheld is still kind of shit. Yeah,
because it didn't... Did the last one, not the last one, the one that you reviewed both versions for, I can't remember what one that was. It was a re-release or some shit.
I did, yeah. So I reviewed Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate for Telegraph.
That's the one.
That was.
And wasn't it that it didn't have online play on the 3DS?
I think so, yeah.
So has this?
But the Wii U version did. This one does have online play, yeah. They had that in 4 as well. But again, it's cool, you can play it online on the 3DS, but then you've also got to get your phone out and Skype everyone that you're playing with, and which is sort of unforgivable. And yeah, it's just like say it's this game that you can pour so many hours into as long as you don't mind like your hand cramping to fuck because you're holding the 3DS, and it is a shame. And reviewing 3 Ultimate on the Wii U and the 3DS and being like, yeah, the 3DS version's all right. Use that for just doing little gathering quests and stuff. But then and then you can transfer your character back to the Wii U, and then that's when you do your big hunts and you play with your mates and stuff. And then 4 Ultimate and now this, it's like, yeah, you just got a 3DS version.
So, I mean, have they got some sort of deal with Nintendo now, or is this... Because this used to be a Sony thing, right?
Yeah, it was massive on PSP, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was basically the only thing that kept the PSP afloat in Japan for some time. I mean, basically, the thing with Monster Hunter is the majority of the fan base is basically Japan. I think the rest of Asia are well into it now. But Japan specifically, like, they yeah, rural Cheshire in England. Like the way, like in Japan, they're much more keen on local multiplayer than we are. So to them, it was like, oh, cool. So I can just get it on the PSP and meet up with my mates. No one was crying out for a home console version that they could play online. That just wasn't important to the fan base. So it went from the PSP, and then it was like, well, what's the next biggest handheld? Oh, it's the 3DS. We'll stick it on that. I don't even know if it was any sort of deal. I think it was just like it was the smart move, considering where what the sort of the main fan base wanted from it. I think that sort of made sense. But I do want it on a proper screen. Because fuck me, man, like it looks like for a 3DS game, it looks incredible, but it's still just on that pokey little screen. Like I've been taking screenshots with it, and then you stick them on Miiverse, and then you can save them to your phone or your computer, whatever. And they're fucking 400 by 200, man. Jesus Christ, like it's
MS Paint shit.
Yeah. So yeah. It succeeds despite being on the 3DS. Like I would still fucking kill for a home console version. But
Monster Hunter as a game has always interested me. I haven't got a console to play it on, but I mean, if this comes out on the NX and there's like a full console version, I'm definitely interested in picking up. It sounds like the sort of game I could lose my life to, which is sort of stuff I'm into.
Yeah, it is super hard to get into because, like I say, you have to learn like the weapons so well. Well, you don't have to pick one if you want, but like you've got to learn it inside out because loads of people try it and they're like, oh, it's really clunky. Like I can't do anything I want to, and I'm just getting beaten up all the time. And it's like, no, you can't. Basically, what the game's trying to tell you is you can't put a foot wrong. Like you've got to watch everything that's going on so carefully, and you've got to know. Like if I press this attack button, I'm gonna like swish my sword in this way and like step forward a bit that way, and then from that I can use like these evasive maneuvers, and that'll put me in these positions, and it's like just knowing all of that and being able to sort of map it in your head as you're playing. It's a lot to get your head around, but it's so worth it.
So how do you think they will, or how do you think this is going to change for the next version?
I don't know. Like there's weird, like there's things about the design of it that are obviously just sort of hangovers from like older hardware. So each sort of area that you go hunting in, like they're all like pretty huge, but they're all split into like sort of 10 to 12 like little areas. And then there'll just be like exits and entrances off each one. And you sort of, and each time, so you pass, so you say you're in area 1, and then it'd be like, oh, there's like a little entrance to a cave there. So you run towards that. And then you go to a loading screen, and then you appear into area 3. And like that feels kind of shit now. I imagine that is something that they're going to do away with. I think one thing they could definitely do with it is it's got there's this whole emphasis on gathering, so you can go around and you pick up like, oh right, so if I get like this herb and this mushroom, I can make a health potion and stuff like that. And it's got this whole sort of crafting, combining thing, which of course is now huge on like PC games and stuff. They're all about survival and crafting and stuff. So seems like a really obvious fit to just be like, do a mode where it's just like, right, there's you chucked in the wilderness with a shit sword and nothing. Like, go and just get on for a bit and try not to die, or try, reach like the other end of this area without, getting killed. And I think that would be wicked.
All right, give it a rest now.
Thank you.
Well, no one was interrupting, so I was like, fuck that.
I'm really looking forward to playing it. I've got it. So
it's
my brother's a massive Monster Hunter fan, so I usually let him guide me through it.
Yeah, I've got no interest in that series of computer games.
You see, but that's the thing is like I wouldn't even try. Like if you said
rest.
like you were thinking of, like if Dave said to me, "Oh, I'm thinking of getting it," I would be like, "Yeah, probably don't worry about it."
Is it like how James tells me not to get Shenmue though? He's so worried that I'll absolutely crucify it that he just never wants me to play it ever.
Well, because Shenmue's actually aged really badly. That's why he doesn't want you to play it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's actually not great.
I know. He's made me watch all of the cutscenes on DVD.
Worst bits.
What was it?
So they're the worst bits. The cutscenes.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Right. Okay. Should we do a few questions and get out of here?
Yep.
Go on. You take over, Sean. Firstly, are you aware of who Capone Adam is, Tamoor?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's we've got an email from him, and I haven't read it yet, so I've got no idea what direction this is going to go in.
It's fairly straight.
Good. That's unlike him. Maybe he's grown up a bit in Canada.
Capone Adam says, what Nintendo franchises are you all most excited about coming to mobile, and how do you think this platform could bring new experiences to that particular franchise?
Right, who's got hold of Capone's computer and who's using it to send us emails? Because that is not...
So what happens when you go to Canada, man?
Yeah, you
Fix up.
He's also signed it off. He's also signed it off
all that
Kappas,
weed.
which was quite amused by. That's good.
The Kappas. I don't think there's any series. The thing I love about Nintendo games is how good they feel to play on a pad. And maybe that's why I didn't like the Wii as much as I could not get on with Mario Galaxy. Like I was playing it, I'm thinking this is wonderful, but at the same time, the feeling of having my arms that separate from each other and having to point at the thing like my nan did when she used a remote control to change the channel. You know what I mean? Where you're kind of sort of like half squinting and sort of just aiming the thing far too much than you need to. I just did not get on with it. So I can't imagine a Nintendo series coming to a mobile phone that I'd actually be interested in.
I'll go on
Do you know
for
what
you.
I mean? Go on.
WarioWare.
You've done it. That is exactly the game that I would play on a mobile phone. It is.
There you go.
Fuck.
They should put Mario on it with touchscreen buttons. It would be really
I
good.
played that on Android,
Also,
obviously, and it don't work that
I
well.
think that if Advance Wars is ever going to come back, its best shot is on mobile.
Well, it never
that's
will,
fair.
though, will it?
You never know.
I actually think Animal Crossing is going to be perfect for mobile.
Fucking Animal Crossing sucks ass.
Do. What?
There's someone that's lost a lot of turnips in his time.
Fucking chore simulator or what?
It is a sort of choice in it. I mean, they're clearly not going to do a full Animal Crossing game on mobile, but it is perfect for it. You know, you can pinch and zoom to go around the map and this and that and other. You get notifications when the turnip guys there on Sundays. It's perfect for mobile, but I'm not going to do a full one, are they?
The thing is, though, I mean, Tamoor, I tried Animal Crossing with New Leaf. I'd never played one before, and I really gave it a go. And the thing that really struck me was how little there is actually in it.
Yeah. It's like I'm just collecting shit to what end? No end. You're just buying like furniture that looks shit, and you put it in a fucking square room, and then people go, "It's all right, isn't it?" Got a nice chair there.
It's not just that though. It's like there are characters around the village, and I was thinking, right, these are all my quests. Then are they? No, this one's just saying hello to me. This one's just saying hello. I don't get it.
The only reason I continued to play that game was because of that character Cap'n. Like he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's good.
The rest of it, hot trash.
So yeah, I mean, apart from WarioWare is a good shout, but I just can't think of anything that I'd actually want to play on iOS from Nintendo. To be honest with you, I'm more interested in what they're going to do with the NX than anything they're going to do with mobile. There's nothing else that really fits in with that because Mario, as you say, the on-screen stuff like D-pad stuff doesn't really work. The I don't know, Monkey Ball, I don't know, not really. That's Sega anyway, so I don't really count, but I don't know. There's just nothing. I'm not really interested. I think Pokemon's a great example of how that shit can work, even though it's not Nintendo. I can't see anything else that sits in that sort of category of game from Nintendo, so I'm not... Yeah, don't really care what I do next. As long as it's not that Miitomo 2.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because the next question from Neil Rootledge, at Rootledge82, says, why do you all still hold Nintendo in high regard? Every generation is the same games as the last. No originality anymore.
I kind of get that. I get what he's saying.
Really?
Yeah, I do, actually. I do, because it's, forgetting the stuff that's about to come out, because, Zelda's certainly taken a huge leap forward, but I mean, the Zelda games have been, okay, this is another Zelda game, and the Mario games have kind of been, yep, I get what the Mario games are. The only thing that I counter to that, and why I do hold them in high regard, is that the games that I have played on that Wii U have been so incredible that you kind of go, okay, yeah, this is kind of the same thing again, but fuck me, is it good? Mario 3D World, absolutely insanely good. Mario Kart 8, unbelievable. And this Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is blowing my mind constantly. That's why I hold them in high regard, because, alright, yeah, they're not sort of reinventing the wheel, but they are making games that are as good as they can possibly be and still feel fun to play.
Attention to detail is what it is. Like, I feel like attention to detail is the main thing, and they don't overreach in the same way that other developers tend to do a lot of the time in trying to reinvent or innovate or whatever. They take an idea that they think that they can work with and perfect it, instead of just being like, let's try this crazy pie in the sky thing. They'll rein that in and be like, no, get it to work in an interesting way and deliver on it so that it's like polished and close to perfection. In terms of Zelda, that's kind of like their GTA. Like, they don't, in the same way that GTA doesn't always reinvent itself. It's classically the same thing every year, right? Just with different little bits tacked on here and there, and kind of the scope of it maybe expanded. I think that that's the game that they have the least incentive to kind of reinvent in a massive way, but they still kind of do it now and then. The latest one seems like the most drastic reinvention of it. But stuff like, the portable one, A Link Between Worlds, I think it was called, was kind of like an interesting throwback and really cool game. But I feel like they know just to do enough to kind of make the games interesting and then deliver what they have got just almost flawlessly most of the time.
That's it. I think you've hit the nail on the head with the refinement stuff, because every game you play from there, you just think, yeah, this has been polished to fuck. And all right, they do have the occasional blip. I remember New Super Mario Bros. 2 was absolute dog shit.
No, it wasn't. It was
the one on the 3DS. Yeah, it was. It was very, very poor. Okay. I really, really did not like that game at all. Oh. And then still Diver. I remember that one.
Oh yeah,
I do.
Yeah, but apparently we're prizing originality over everything else. So boring as fuck submarine simulator on a handheld. Bring it on, mate.
Who developed Still Diver?
I can't remember. It was
them internally?
Pretty sure it's first party.
Miyamoto put his name to it.
Yeah. There are some like here and there, because stuff like Star Fox as well isn't great.
Some people fucking love that. In fact, there's a demo of it that I've downloaded and keep meaning to play.
Yeah. Do you trust people that like, I don't trust people though that absolutely adore everything Nintendo come out with.
Yeah, of all the like diehard fans, Nintendo ones tend to be the most likely or the least trustworthy in terms of.
You say that, but I genuinely adore Splatoon, so then I get
Splatoon
that
is
level.
Brilliant. Like, I think a lot of the people that talk bad about it are doing it because of like very surface observations of it, like the style of it, and they clearly haven't played enough of it to know that there is a very deep kind of game system there, and it's incredibly rewarding. And the beauty of it is it simplifies a lot of what other shooters and kind of multiplayer games do. Again, it's refining it and taking it to its core essence and making sure that's satisfying and really polished.
Yeah.
See, what I'm saying is what I'm saying here is not that that people are wrong for liking certain games of theirs. What I'm saying is that I just find people hard to trust more than anything else. You know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we all know people who will defend Nintendo to the hilt. So, when perhaps they shouldn't. But yeah,
no, that's it. I think they when they come out with games, especially games like the new Mario games, the new Mario Kart games and stuff like that. That is when you sit up and take notice because they're so good at that stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing a talented development team working on something that they're really good at, then that's worth getting excited for, and that's why we hold them in such high regard, I think.
Yeah.
But then, Matt, you've not... I mean, as you said, your last Nintendo machine was what? The DS Lite?
No, I had a Wii. Didn't bother with a Wii U. My last handheld, was a DS Lite. So I'm definitely excited for whatever Nintendo do next. So I'm going to try and get involved in that straight away. But the Wii U did nothing for me. I loved my Wii for the first year or so, and then just stopped playing it like a lot of people. But no, I'm really excited to see what Nintendo do next. I feel like I missed out.
It's such an easy, wanky, shitty thing to say, but when the NX comes out, that Wii U's going to drop in price, and I would still recommend it.
Yeah.
Like just even to play like Mario 3D World and Mario Kart and stuff.
Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, mate.
I mean, I didn't really get on board with that, mainly not because it was a bad game or anything, because it wasn't, but I just felt like I'd had my feel of Bayonetta.
Yeah, but have you seen her
feel?
ass?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Check out her booty though.
Freudian.
She has
slut.
Some good curves. Right, what's the next question?
Armitage Shanks at Edward Catflap, which is a whole set of words. He says
you can use any of those words for the name of your new dog, Sean.
He says, I'm in the market for a PS4 or an Xbox One. Get one now or wait until the revised versions are out? ?
Definitely wait. I mean, Xbox One S is out on the 2nd of August, so
it's not far off now, is it? Yeah.
A couple of weeks.
I would wait for that, but would you really recommend people wait for the Neo?
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
but that's all the more reason to wait, right?
I don't think it is.
If you buy a PS4 now and then the Neo comes out and it's like, actually, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, but if you haven't got one already, then surely you're not the sort of person that lives on the cutting edge of things anyway.
I would. So. He says PS4 or Xbox One. I mean, if you're getting both, then just get the Xbox One now and wait for the PS4. But out of the two, I would probably wait for the PS4 Neo. I mean, there's been rumours of Amazon listings we're saying October. They're still adamant it's out this year. I would definitely wait. If you haven't got one now, another 2 months or so isn't going to kill you.
It's 3 months, and I just think it's a long wait for something that we don't know anything about. It's weird. Like, when do you stop? When do you stop?
You stop when the January sales, and if it's not out, then yeah, get a cheap
one. Okay, all right.
Armitage, wait.
Next.
Athene Allen says, the planet's fucked at this point, that much is certain. What will you do with your last days before Trump fires the nukes?
What would I do with my last days? I don't know. Does he want a funny answer? Or does he want
he doesn't want spend time with your wife and kids answer. I would play Christmas Nights because big fan of that game.
I'd probably run to the local arcade and just play Sega Rally, just pump all my money into it.
I'd play Fallout as preparation for what's to come.
As preparation for what? Trying to find a vault?
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope you go first. I hope you're really close to the bomb.
Yeah, and you just get to see me just go, whoop, just before it gets you.
And then try and upload it to YouTube before I inevitably get...
Find it, mate.
Fine. I'm trying to edit music into it.
Fucking the old Joypod theme just looping over.
Tamoor?
Nothing.
Good. Next question.
Wicked. Spug Notherson at Spug Notherson says, what annoys Turner the most? I don't actually care. I just love to hear him go off on one. I don't really think that's going to work though, because we can't just mention something. Like, it's quite artificial. If we just now go, oh, Dave, you don't like this, do you? He's not suddenly going to get really angry.
I bloody don't, Sean. I bloody don't like this.
There you go. He's gone off on one, lads. Whee.
What annoys me the most? I know everything at this point. I get so mad and try and hold it down, but I can't. Because I'm getting to that age now where everything just fucks me off.
Yeah.
Just people, just fucking... cyclists and drivers and are you happy, are you? Yeah, well, wait until you've got to get up in the morning and fucking change a shitty nappy. Fuck off, fuck you. Festivals. Just everything annoys me at this point.
Wicked.
I think.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Doi, D-U-Y, Doi at transfers with a Z. Says, what are your favourite TV shows at the moment?
Well, Mr. Robot Season 2 is out now. At least the first 2 episodes are. And the first series, I love Mr. Robot. I think it's the best show since Breaking Bad. I think it's brilliant. And Season 2 has started strong so far. So Mr. Robot for me, definitely.
We've been watching a fuck ton of Veep, which is incredible.
It's a very good show.
Yeah, because...
Veep, you say?
Yeah, watching Veep. No, my wife kept saying, like, fuck, when's there going to be a new thick of it? And I was like, well, shall we watch Veep, which there's like 5 seasons of and has been winning awards consistently for years in America and is basically the same show. And yeah, it's incredible.
Isn't that is that Armando Iannucci?
It is, and Chris Morris writes and directs some of it as well.
Yeah, they are very talented people. I am a fan of absolutely atrocious telly.
Yeah.
So we are watching. We're finally on board the Always Sunny in Philadelphia train. So I'm getting through that slowly but surely. But yeah, no, 9 times out of 10 we're watching Nothing to Declare.
Man, that's a good show.
It is a very good show. Oh, and they've got drugs in their bag, but they're saying they haven't.
Isn't it great, isn't it? Where just every episode they bang on about Australia's fragile ecosystem. I love it.
Yeah. And Four in a Bed, did you watch that?
I know of it. I haven't watched it though.
So they get 4 people that own B&Bs to go and stay with each other, and then they rate each other's B&B. And what's beautiful about it is that most people see their B&Bs as their own house, and they love and care for it.
Yeah.
And it's basically someone walking in and going, "This shit fucking stinks. I hate it." And then at the end, they all sit around a table, and they're supposed to pay the amount that their room's worth, but you can take money off or you can give them a little tip or whatever. And it's just the biggest... I mean, it's a perfect way to start fights. So there's a whole episode dedicated to them sitting around a table screaming at each other, crying and getting all angry. And yeah, it's beautiful. So that...
Dave, I assume you're watching Love Island.
I'm not watching Love Island. There are a few that I really miss. Tool Academy, because that was one of the best. That's not coming back. Beauty and the Geek, that was good. Did you ever watch that?
I watched the American one originally at uni. That was brilliant.
Literally My Peeps and some beautiful women on like in some house together. I mean, classic. But yeah, all that shit. I've not watched that. John Denton was recommending X on the Beach to me. Maybe I need to watch that. I don't know. Hotel Inspector's alright. Tamoor.
I like Mr. Robot a lot. I saw first season and second season, and we not to plug my work, but we do a show about TV shows and that kind of stuff, and that's one of the kind of core shows that we're looking at right now. And I think it's a great show. Other than that, I like superhero wise, I watch a lot of shows, but I think Flash is probably the best of them. It's really light and really fun, and it does superhero shows really, really well. That's pretty much it at the moment. It just come off Game of Thrones as well, and we did a show about that. Just taking it easy. I'm not going to talk about anime because I know that will upset all of you.
Yes, it will. That Preacher is meant to be up and down, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people are like a bit weird, more
down than
up
for me. Yeah. I was all right at first, and then I just feel like if you asked me what had happened in the last 2-3 episodes, I wouldn't really have an answer for you.
I don't know how they get away with it, because it was really quite. How do I put it? Like, it was pretty shocking in places in the books, wasn't it? So it's kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, there's been multiple attempts to make it into a TV show before, and Garth Ennis, who's the writer, he apparently is always, like, insisted on having this clause that he's got the final say, and if they deviate from the books in any way, he's pulling the plug. And, the TV version of Preacher that has finally made it to TV is nothing like the books.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it has to be. It's just like essentially the themes were really fucked up.
Yeah,
and the way the characters spoke to each other and stuff was really messed up. So I don't know how they could actually put that on TV these days.
Well, I mean, they couldn't. Like, obviously, like initially I was like, yeah, they've changed loads of stuff, but they probably had to. I get it. And then, yeah, like I say, it just feels like nothing's happening.
Because there was like a really, really dark bit in the Walking Dead books.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was watching it with Joe, and I said, "There's a bit that's supposed to happen, but surely they can't do it on TV."
I know exactly the bit you mean.
Yeah, that would be really fucked up. And then they didn't do it on TV.
They totally changed that in the books.
Yeah,
but
they did
the
it
show.
worse. Like, it was worse in the show. I was kind of like, oh yeah, they're going to pussy out and not do it. And then it was like, oh, actually, fuck me, this is actually worse. Holy fuck. So yeah, it still kind of worked. The whole shocking thing still kind of worked. But I know Preacher was a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever watch it, but
yeah, I mean, what I might just do is just wait until it's over, and then if anyone I know has actually stuck through to the end, just say, "Look, did it end up all right?" And if it did, then I'll get it all watched. But as it is, I'm all right, I think. Right, Jammy at Duke of Jam says, if all the dogs in the UK came together, how many square meters would they cover? Well, loads of them have been neutered, haven't they? So not that many. Ha.
Good. Is that the end of the questions?
No, there's fucking loads, mate.
One more, and then we're done.
Please don't pick that football one. I'm begging you.
I'm trying to pick one. Fuck.
This is why he's not a professional broadcaster.
Alonso Mosley. Well, I normally do this before the show actually starts, David, because I'm a fucking pro.
That's the most angry I've ever heard you in my life.
So, I mean, it's, you know, when you get angry and then you're like, it's for the show. That's what I'm doing. Right, Alonso Mosley, FBI, at Dan Price. I don't think he's actually from the FBI, but let's just assume he is, just to be safe. He says, Gary Busey has been confirmed as a hitman elusive target. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
I have.
The actor Gary Busey is the next elusive target in Hitman for 7 days. And it's him. He's in the game. Yeah.
Have they got him to do voice work and stuff?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope so.
Because he's insane, right? Like, he was on Big Brother. And he was just absolutely mental.
But yeah, the question is, which other action movie icons would you like to stab in a clown costume?
It has to be Seagal, surely.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I'd stand a chance. I don't think there's any chance of me getting close enough to do that.
I can't remember who the actor was, but I remember hearing a story about Seagal, about how he was working on a film, and he'd walked on set and just said, I have just read the best screenplay I have ever read in my life. And the other actor went, oh really? Who wrote it? And he went, me. True story, apparently.
I'm trying to think of action movie icons that I despise. And I don't know. I think they're often quite sad figures, aren't they?
Yeah, because they've been like juicing it up for God knows how long.
Does it have to be an action movie star? Can we just pick any celebrity?
You can
fucking Christopher
go wider
Walken,
if you want.
What's
Christopher Walken done to you?
I don't really have any ill will to him. I just think it would be quite funny. Like, they could make some good comedic scenarios with him.
Yeah, well, it'd just be the sounds that you go, ow!
Exactly. That payoff, like you spent ages setting up this elaborate kill and he just goes, ow!
If we're doing anyone, it has to be Kevin's parents from Home Alone. Like, how can you forget a kid? How can you leave a kid?
To be fair, they deserve stabbing.
Also,
I'm assuming that they forgot the kid to create a sort of light-hearted family comedy film, Matt.
Still need to take him out.
They should do the bandits, the wet bandits. Make it a dual kill.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Stab everyone up in that house.
I like how this has just gone on to just who would we like to stab?
Andy Hamilton.
Let's widen the brief. Let's just
yeah, because I mean, does anyone actually genuinely hate an action hero guy?
I don't think so. I say you mostly they're either just quite good, or you just end up feeling sorry for them when they reach old age and they're just sort of fucked.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's what a fun way to end the podcast.
Woo!
Okay, Matt, do you want to do your bullshit?
Yeah. Well, this show's on iTunes, of course. We'd love you to leave a review. That'd be fantastic. For those of you on Android, we're also on Pocket Casts. We'd love to receive an email. We've got one from Cappers this week. gone down somewhat. But yeah, if you want to email us, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, of course. We're at ComputerGamePod, and we're at facebook.com/thecomputergameshow. Every episode goes up every week on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/thecomputergameshow.
Send them nudes.
Send nudes, write comments on all the videos. We love that. Just like World Ended. More of that, please.
Yeah. More of the same, please. And we are fully aware on the download issue that we're having when we're launching a podcast. We are looking into it, and hopefully this week we've got a bit of a workaround until we get the servers sorted. So hopefully you got this in under 2 hours. Fingers crossed.
2 days.
Tamoor, thanks so much for joining us at short notice and being excellent on the podcast. Do you want to plug anything?
You can listen to my podcast, which I do with a bunch of other idiots. It's called Chat Very Good. It's I like to think of it as a sister podcast to this. We're in the same family.
Why have you suddenly decided that that's the case?
Because I fucking want to, that's why.
Okay.
Sorry. So it's a sister podcast to this, whereas this is Midnight Resistance not involved in this.
No, Midnight Resistance in the brother podcast.
Okay.
It's fine.
I like the fact that he thinks he's part of it.
And also go to Gamespot.com.
Go to Gamespot.com.
Never heard of it, mate.
So apparently it needs clicks or something, I don't know.
Spong.com. Right. Thanks for living it. We'll see you next week. Hopefully James will be back.
That can't be the first time you've heard that.
Tamoor admitting he's never heard the show before.
I always duck out of every podcast when I hear him winding down. I'm that guy. I'm that
well, no explanation needed then. Thanks for living it. Take care.
Be skillful.
Bye-bye. Be skillful.